In the last decade or century, some countries moved their capital for some reasons. These mega projects usually changed millions of people's lives and cost a lot of money. So, in this video, I brought 5 examples, so let's get started. The first country is usually called the most dangerous country, which is Australia. After 1901, Australia became an independent nation from a colony of the British Empire. A question arose which city would be the capital of the country. There were two main options: Melbourne, which would be a very good capital because it was the financial and commercial hub of Australia, with a strong economy driven by industries such as manufacturing, wool production and trade. The other one was Sydney, which had a rapidly growing population and was the largest city in Australia by population. This way, it should have been the capital of the nation, but because of the ministers couldn't choose, Canberra, a town between these two big cities, turned into the capital of Australia. But now, let's move on to the next country, which is Brazil. Before 1891, Rio de Janeiro was the main target of the French pirates. Robberies and attacks were common at that period, so José Bonifácio, Brazilian politician, realized it and planned a new capital in the highland of Brazil to avoid pirate attacks and to build a new modern capital. However, the question didn't arise more seriously until Juscelino Kubitschek was finally elected. He planned to populate the middle of Brazil, but at that time the area of the new capital was completely rainforest. But the construction started. After 3 years of hard work, the new capital was finally finished, and in 1960 the capital of the country changed from Rio de Janeiro to Brasilia. In the next country, the moving is still in progress, which is Egypt. The story began in 2015 when the president of Egypt announced the new capital. The upper level tried to isolate themselves from the overpopulated and dirty Cairo, and also the government supported the area, so the construction began in 2017 and maybe finish in 2027, and it will cost over 45 billion US dollars. By the way, I see some similarities with the creation of Versailles, because in both cases the upper level tried to separate themselves, but in France it didn't succeed. Maybe in Egypt. We will see. The next country was a part of the Soviet Union. This is Kazakhstan. After the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, Almaty became the capital of Kazakhstan, but there were some problems with the city. First of all, it is located next to the southeast border and it couldn't expand because of the mountains all around the city. In 2017, President Nursultan Nazarbayev announced the new capital, which will be Astana. The change had some good and bad consequences, like its location in the middle of the country turned into the most important economic and cultural center, but the rural areas economically declined. Astana's construction was finally finished in 2019 and it took almost $100 billion. And the last but not least, Indonesia. The most recent example is Indonesia. The location of Jakarta isn't very good because it is increasingly threatened by the rising of the ocean's level, and this way 1/3 of the city will be underwater by 2050, and it is way more overpopulated with its 10 million people. So the government chose to move the capital to Nusantara. The new capital is located more in the middle of Indonesia than Jakarta. Therefore, it will make it easier for businesses and government agencies to operate. The construction is going to start in 2024, but it will be a long and exhausting work to create a city like Jakarta. And now we are at the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button below and subscribe. I was Aaron. Bye.